Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse, and you're watching the Patreon bonus stories. Welcome to the Patreon bonus stories.
Let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
We've got the story here about Zurich Police. They just got 3 EVs, Audi e-trons this time. Zurich City Police is thus the first large Swiss police force to permanently use all electric vehicles in patrol duty. So I want to clarify. A lot of police departments have said, like, we've got electric vehicles now. But then they put them on like traffic patrol, which means that they're not going to like do any high-speed chases and stuff like that. These are actual patrol duty, so basic police services. They expect to save 23,000 euros over 10 years versus diesel. Now, I don't know how they got those numbers because that sounds really low, but whatever, it's a savings. Within 2 years, it plans to procure more e-vehicles and in turn phase out some of the traffic police's diesel vehicles, some of which are already 15 years old. So going forward, EVs must be considered for every replacement. And I love that. I love to hear that basically they have to at least consider EVs before they just blindly buy diesel.
Right. And I just want to point out this video that we're watching. I don't think, and I may be wrong, but I don't think that the police department made this video.
No, they didn't. Or if they did, they had someone really talented on the force that can do that.
And if so, that's great for them. Here's what I kind of think happened.
I think Audi did it.
I think Audi said, "Oh, yeah, you're going to use these on a police force? We should totally get some great publicity for it." And they clearly sent someone out there, and they got some great footage. I mean, I don't think that you're going to get like drifting police cars from a police force. Right. I just don't. I really do. It just looks like an Audi ad to me. And here's where I feel like Tesla could do a little bit better job.
A way better job. I just want to put it out there. I'm sorry. I mean, you guys say all the time, you guys are Tesla fanboys. We are. That doesn't mean we think they do everything right. Jesse has a really good point here. It would not cost Tesla much at all to produce a video for them. It would take them a day from their marketing department, right, who would just do this all the time and be good at it. Plus, they could probably use a lot of B-roll they already shot. And then hand this over to the police department. Now they're all proud. They're like, whoa, look at this awesome video showing off our police force. Yep. They would put it up on all their social media. They would go to city council meetings and all that kind of stuff and play the video. Everyone would be all impressed. And that's completely different than going to a city council meeting like, turn to page 93.
Right. We want to purchase some Tesla vehicles. And then the city councilor's like, you want to do what with all of our taxpayer money? Get the heck out of here.
Right.
And Tesla, I think, could do a better job because they could put, some text over the thing showing about the savings. They could show some graphs. They can.
Well, this is what makes me mad about this whole thing, is that there seems to be these two different worlds, right? There's like shiny world where you just show cars sliding all over the place and doing things. And then there's the paper world, right? Yeah, right? Where you have charts and tables.
Right.
You can combine the two in a short video that would make it so that both worlds are happy. The people who want to see a really powerful police car can see that, and the people who want to hear about savings and safety can see that.
Well, and we've talked to police departments, multiple police departments that are interested in getting Teslas. Some of them have Teslas. It didn't seem that easy to do. No, I think that Tesla should make it a little bit easier for police departments to do this. I mean, we have a whole in-depth on this. I think we have a couple in-depths about Tesla police cars. There's so many things that Teslas could do that would make it easier for police departments to switch to electric.
They could also have a small sub-department at Tesla, the Tesla, municipality department, that could be there to help you, to put together resources and slideshows and so forth. Right. And it's like, oh, do you want a one-pager on what to say to your city council? We got that for you.
Yeah. I mean, just having a crack team at Tesla that could just like respond to emails from police departments and other municipal
I would
fleets.
hire an ex-police chief, an ex-fire chief, an ex-EMT chief.
Yep.
I would put them in that department so that they could say, oh, we got answers for you. We've worked with these police departments. Yeah. Here's pictures. Here's people to talk to.
Right. They know how to speak the language. They know how to speak to police departments and fire departments, and they also know how to speak to city councilors and members of the public.
And this is why, again, jokingly, Jesse and I say that we want to be the VPs of special operations, but we know what Tesla needs to move the needle faster, and we know that's what Elon wants to do anyway. He wants to move the needle, so we're just like, yeah, let's move it even faster, Elon. You don't have to be good at this, Elon. That's not your job. But like somebody at Tesla should be doing that.
And here's the problem. I think that there are people at Tesla who, might hear something about like, oh, Tesla police cars. And for whatever reason, they might go, ooh, police, like, ooh, I don't know if we should like even be like doing that. And,
I agree.
And hey, like, okay, sure, we can have a discussion about, police brutality or whatever, but that should kind of be to the side.
I don't even think it's that. I think that it's the Silicon Valley approach of like, we're so awesome that people will find out.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, they will. Eventually they will. But if you're trying to move the needle on something, you got to be grassroots. You got to push really hard in the beginning. And whatever amount you push in the beginning speeds up the curve.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's this whole problem with Silicon Valley where they don't understand how the rest of the world works.
Yeah.
How it works with dinners and emails and,
Yep.
and good phone calls with people
Yep.
and face-to-face communication.
Well, and here's the other problem. They hire, I mean, look, when you get to 75,000 employees right now, a lot of those are factory workers actually working with their hands, but a lot of those are mid-level manager people.
Yep.
And there's so many books I've read now about people who've started companies. I was just listening to Chamath Palihapitiya, who was, one of the beginning employees at Facebook, and he said when he started working there, they had 200 employees. They barely had enough people to keep the lights on. Mm-hmm. And when he left, he said he didn't even know how it was like 20,000 employees or something. Now I think they have 200,000 employees. He's like, there's employees there that don't do anything, but they have to justify their position. And I'm telling you, I'm sorry, when a company gets this big, it's no longer that Elon knows who's being hired. It's people hiring people who hire people. And so there's a lot of people who are sitting there doing pretty much nothing. Now, if you're working at Tesla, I hope it's not you that I'm talking about. I'm sure you're working hard. But there's a lot of people we've bumped into.
Sure, you might know a couple people.
Exactly.
And any job is like that,
And
right?
one of the problems is when you have one of those jobs and you're kind of like, I don't really do much every day. You have to then justify what you do.
Right.
Which
you don't
means
stand up and go like, hey, excuse me, I'm not doing much. That's
Right.
just not something that employees want to do.
Right.
And you could say like, oh, Elon needs to make a better corporate culture for that. No, I mean, any company is going to have employees that aren't going to be like doing what they, aren't going to be doing much, and they don't want to say anything about it.
And here's the other problem. You begin to get into this culture where you don't stick your neck out.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, and I'm sorry to say, I think what's happened at Tesla.
Happening.
Well,
as we're speaking.
yeah, but even it's been happening for a while.
It's been on the tracks for a while. Yes.
When that's happened,
you become GM. You
Yeah.
become Ford.
I'm
you
sorry.
become Audi.
Yes. And that's why, again, as VP of Special Operations, our job would be to go in there
Yeah.
and clean house.
Caveat to that hasn't really happened in the engineering department.
No, and that's because Elon hires all the engineers.
Yes, that's the point. And we can see, Sandy Munro is an excellent finder of this. He's tearing apart all of these new electric cars. He tears apart he just pulls out the frunk of the Ford
and he almost faints.
Practically faints because it's such a mess. And anyone looking at it is like, that's a mess, especially when you've seen the Tesla and you just have an inkling understanding of the octovalve and stuff like that.
And this goes to the fact that Ford is not a manufacturer. Ford is a supplier. So
Right.
Ford got all these different parts and then had to Frankenstein it together.
And it was super Frankenstein together.
Right.
So to me, Tesla engineering is like the best, right? They clearly know. They went from the super bottle to the octovalve.
Right.
The super
In
bottle
less than a year.
In less than a year. So the super bottle, which I think is in my car,
is amazing.
I'm still freaking proud to have that in my car. I'm glad that they put a like a action hero on the side of the thing. That shows that they're really proud and.
Yep.
Makes me emotional. I'm so proud of them for making that.
Yep.
And then they turn around and make something better, the octovalve, which I think has an octopus somewhere on it.
Most companies would have lived off the super bottle for a decade.
That would have been like their key technology. And they would have gone to conferences and they would have said with our patented super bottle technology, we are and Tesla is not that way. They completely did it the other way. The problem is the non-engineering departments don't have that same level of thing, and I think strangely and sadly enough, I think it's right down to where Elon's strengths lie.
Yes.
He is an engineer. All of his engineers are a crack team, and however it is that he runs the company, I know that someday in the future, in 10, 20 years, there's going to be a book out or a brain chip out, or it's just in your brain now, where he's going to kind of explain or walk through what his plan was if he had one. But I think it's just being an engineer. I've worked with engineers before. I am an engineer. Engineers want to work on the problem. It's everything else that seems to slow it down.
I can't wait to talk about Liftoff by Eric Berger, the new book we're going to read for our book club, because there's so many examples in there of where if we were the VP of special operations, we could have fixed problems before they occurred. And it's so obvious in hindsight. So, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from Tesla. I know that what they've done is incredibly hard. And I don't mean to sound like, well, I knew better. I don't. I'm an idiot compared to these guys. I just know that right now they have a problem and they do need to clean house and they do need to start bringing in a different culture. And if they don't do it soon, that culture will be embedded and you won't be able to extract it.
And I'm worried that it could infiltrate the engineering departments because it can be kind of pervasive where you have a bunch of people who seem to hold way too much power and don't do a lot of work and they
have the wrong attitude.
They totally do. So yeah, I'm a little concerned about it. I don't think it's anything to like sell your stock about, obviously, but I'm just like, it's just something that we're noticing. And Audi honestly did a great job. They made a little video. And now any police officer who was watching that is going to go, sweet,
right?
What a cool car. There's no worry about like, because when you're just looking at a ream of paper of like, oh, it's a Tesla Model 3. And it's like, well, I have a ton of questions. Mm-hmm. But if you watch a cool video, you're like, okay, it can do some cool stuff.
Right.
And a better produced video would answer all of your questions.
Hey, let's go on to this next story. A lot of you have written to us about Anonymous.
Oh, my goodness.
And you've been like, you've got to answer these 11 points from the video. And first of all, I don't like responding to Anonymous because it's not a person that we can know who it is.
It's also not anonymous.
It's not anonymous, right?
You might be saying, well, yes, it is because we don't know who they are. We kind of know who they are. There is two YouTube that I've found. Two YouTube channels called Anonymous. There's Anonymous Official, which has 3.5 million subscribers, and there's Anonymous.
And I just want to point out how funny this is.
They're verified. Both of them. Both of them are verified on YouTube. Excuse me? It's anonymous. You should not be able to verify who it is. And secondly, there's two of them.
Can you picture that in the background? No, really, I'm anonymous.
No, it's
I'm going to send you
I am anonymous.
Here is my information so you can check who I am.
I don't want to attack Anonymous because I don't want them to like kill me or whatever, hack my life.
I want to attack Anonymous 2 here, which is not the real Anonymous. So basically, this tweet came out from Not Financial Advice. He said, so Anonymous just dropped a second Elon Musk hit piece. This is getting bad, guys. And why don't you take a look? It's just funny.
This is another message from Anonymous for Elon Musk. We will continue to expose you. We will never rest. Our message today is that Tesla is basically worthless, and investors should run, not walk from their position. Sell everything or lose everything. Essentially, what we have here is a busted growth story. If you look at month-over-month numbers in 3 small villages in eastern Poland, you will see that Tesla...
Wait.
Who is this? How are you in my transmission?
Is this Gordon Johnson?
Who? Who is this Jordan Gonson you speak of?
No, Gordon Johnson, the guy that's been wrong about Tesla for years now. It's you.
I have no idea who that person is. They sound very intelligent. As I was saying, essentially Tesla is a busted growth story. Sell your Tesla stock, buy GM stock, or prepare for doom.
Dude, it's totally you. It's Gordon. You're not fooling anybody.
Do you hear the static? Our transmission is breaking up. Definitely not Gordon Johnson. Must sign off now. Anonymous out.
Yeah, so
that's the third Anonymous.
And so this is, Gordon Johnson, which, I'm pretty sure the Anonymous video wasn't from Gordon Johnson, but it's like Gordon Johnson. It's an oil play here, folks. It's obviously, first of all, these 11 points are ridiculous. Some of them are like, children are working on lithium mining. No, they're not.
It's like, get your facts straight.
Yeah,
bud.
if you're gonna,
Hey, I'm willing to say, yeah, cobalt mining is bad,
and that's why I didn't want to write a rebuttal to this because it's so stupid, and that's what Jesse and I do.
And here's the thing: if you actually look into it, it's not the real Anonymous.
Right.
There's Anonymous Official, And funny thing enough, Anonymous Official,
Is kind of pro Tesla.
kind of pro Tesla. They have an entire Elon playlist, the first video of which I feel like I've seen before. It's a positive video on Tesla.
Right.
Then there's some other ones where they get into, that they're gonna put brain chips in your head, which Elon is gonna put brain chips in your head. So he's not gonna
But here's
put
the
them
thing.
in without your consent. But of course,
I don't
someday
like.
it'll become mandatory, right?
I don't like sites that you don't know who they are, and that's why I don't want to give them any more credence. I don't want to be like, and on our show, let's talk about it, and then have another 100,000 people go click on it. Like, it's
Especially
just
when it's not. And then Anonymous, like the real Anonymous, was like, yeah, that's not us.
right.
Kind
Right, so I mean,
of tough when you have.
Well, and this is what I'm saying. If you have something you want to say against Tesla, then come out and say, here's who I am and here's what I want to say. Don't hide behind a fake anonymous thing so you can seem like bigger than you are. That's just, look, what we do on the show is we bring you news of what's going on with Tesla and EVs and sustainable and renewable energy. That's what's important, okay? These are the things you should be sharing with your friends. Not like, well, let me share this anonymous video and then share the rebuttal video. Right. That's not going to change anyone's mind. That's just going to make them go, what the hell am I getting into?
And yeah, again, it's not the real Anonymous.
Right.
That's the crazy part to me. And plus, here, like, Anonymous, if you're listening, I'm really impressed when you hack people and things. I'm not impressed. I'm like, oh my goodness, they did that. I'm not like, oh good. But
Elon even said here, not even a good fake anonymous. The article is behind a paywall, and it looks like anonymous hacking skills are not enough to get behind it.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, you got to hack into. I mean, why release this video? Why not hack into the Model S Plaid unveiling YouTube live stream
Right.
and then do it there? Then
Or
I'd be
make-
like, oh my gosh.
Or make your video pop up every time you get in the car and like, hello,
Yeah,
this is
I mean,
anonymous.
This is anonymous. You better listen to what we have to say.
Yeah,
It's just fear. They're just going on fear.
and it's really scary because it's like, why? Why? Where is this coming from?
Oil.
Yeah, it's
Coming
just
from oil.
Really sad.
It's coming from, oh my gosh, fear, short the stock. I mean, the stock is going to zero.
I know.
Really?
Give me
Is that's an old
give me a
playlist, buddy.
break. I
Come
know.
up with a new playlist.
I know.
At least be a little bit creative.
I know.
Let's go on to this video, which is kind of fun to watch.
So what's faster than ludicrous mode on a Tesla? Going Plaid, obviously. Only probably that makes sense if you're a fan of the 1987 comedy classic Spaceballs. Elon Musk definitely is, and a bunch of the names of features on Teslas are inspired by that movie. So here he is driving a new Model S Plaid onto a stage during a highly touted event in the company's factory in Fremont, California. 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds and a top speed of 200 miles an hour. The cost? More than 130 grand. Few have been allowed to drive that car, but Jay Leno has for CNBC's Jay Leno's Garage. He tried to break the quarter-mile land speed record for production cars.
All right, Jay, this is Franz. You're ready to go. Launch. Here he goes. Wow. 9247. Wow.
Wow, I wonder if that broke a record. Jay's with us from his garage. That's fast. Was it a winner?
It was a winner. I mean, it is now the fastest production car you can buy. Faster than any Ferrari, faster than any $3.5 million Bugatti. It's pretty amazing. You know, the most amazing part was that drag strip was near Bakersfield in an agricultural area. So there's farming all around. There were birds sitting on the Christmas tree. That's the light that comes down. When I stepped on the accelerator and took off, and I came back down after going 152, the birds were still there. I mean, you go to any drag strip and it's just horrible noises, tires, smoke, blah, 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 blah. But just the fact that you can go that fast, that swiftly, that quickly, it's pretty amazing. I'm a huge fan of American technology, and especially products that developed here in America using locally sourced stuff. And that's why I love this car. $130,000 is a tremendous amount of money. But to get the same performance from an internal combustion engine, you probably have to spend, in the case of Bugatti, $2.5 million, or Ferrari close to $1 million. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. You were
Plus, I had the air conditioner on.
I don't know what kind of amazing relationship they were able to forge with Jay Leno.
I think Jay Leno saw from an early point, because he interviewed Elon years and years and years
True.
ago. I think he saw an amazing American car auto manufacturer. He's into cars. He's into America. He wanted this to do well. And he also realized that electric was the way to go. He's gotten an old electric car in his collection.
True.
And I think he fell in love with the company. I think this is a pretty like actual organic relationship.
No, I know that, but I'm just like, I'm so grateful because you have a pretty big personality going on the air, doing basically a Tesla ad.
Yeah.
That's so great.
It is. And then, I mean, we talked last week about this new quarter-mile record. I didn't know that Jay was in the car. I didn't know he broke the record.
He was driving.
He broke the record.
That was a great little clip. I loved having Franz. Franz is such a great little character in the Tesla MCU or whatever. I
would have featured that in the Plaid event.
Right?
Like,
Right?
this is what I'm talking about, the PR department, and this is what I'm talking about, VP of Special Operations.
have to
Combine
be-
those
Right.
two,
It's
the
not-
world should have known that Jay was in that car. It would have been a bigger story.
Right. I mean, Jay did a great job. I don't know. I want to know what kind of is going on because like that was some great footage that we had. Yeah, it would have been great to have it at the Plaid event. It's not that this press department has to just be like, responding to anonymous and like that. I'm just saying that they should just be kind of like, hey, you know what else would be a good idea? We should include this in the event.
I would like to be out of a job. I would like it if Tesla PR was so good that they could put these pieces together and that they got the press they needed so that the world heard about this.
Yeah.
This is being handed to you on a silver platter.
I know.
Okay? You already have Franz and Jay working together on this thing. You broke the record, so that worked. Okay? Because that's not easy.
Right.
They did it. Then you got the Plaid event coming.
Get people to shout
You
it from
delayed
the-
it a week,
Yeah.
so you could have said, hey, Jay, awesome, let's put this up as part of the video, or let's have you there, or let's have you get out on stage with Elon. Like,
Or it's a Plaid event, right? So it's Plaid. Mel Brooks, 94 years old, he's still alive. Mel Brooks wrote Spaceballs and directed it and was in Spaceballs.
Yep.
Why don't you have Mel Brooks?
I know.
I mean, maybe Mel Brooks doesn't like Elon. I don't know how. It seems like they have the same sense of humor. So maybe they contacted him, maybe he didn't come. But I'm just saying, if you had Mel Brooks there, and if he came out on stage and he's like, "Hey, everybody, I'm Mel Brooks, and back when I was writing Spaceballs, we thought what would be faster than ludicrous speed?" And I said, "Well, it's got to be some crazy, ridiculous color." And my wife said plaid, and I said, "That's great." I don't know. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it doesn't make the cut. I just think,
Yeah.
get a quote from him. Put it in a newspaper.
I agree.
Let people hear about it. It's a
agree.
great story.
I know.
Like it's such a great story to have this fairly organic thing coming from an art piece. It's a movie, it's art, and it inspires technology. I'd click on that article. I'd read that little article.
Here's what proves your argument. Saturday Night Live. When you get out in front of this, it works.
Yep.
People want to hear about this, and if you do it right, like Elon did on Saturday Night Live, where he said, "Yeah, I'm a little different. I'm a little weird." But people were like, "Great, we love weird here in America." If you do it right, he could endear himself to be the next, Henry Ford to America. But instead, he's got this wimpy culture around him, and I guess everyone's afraid because they're like, "Oh, there's no press department." So no one wants to pitch any ideas like this, and so it's only when Elon comes up with something. And I'm like we've all kind of said, he's not the best presenter. You need some better ideas.
I mean, he comes up with great stuff. I mean, calling it the plaid, that definitely came directly from Elon.
Yeah, of course.
And it was great.
Yes.
But
except that
it should be his job to be a press department.
Except that we understand that it's great because we've been in that culture and in this bubble for years.
I watched Spaceballs when I was a kid, and I loved it.
But
if you've never watched Spaceballs
Exactly.
before,
If you're-
it's like,
if you're
why
a
are you
Porsche-
naming it after a color?
Exactly. If you're a Porsche guy or something, you're going to be like, "What are you talking
Right.
about?"
I've never watched a Mel Brooks movie in my life.
Right.
What does that mean? I don't understand. Why is it called plaid? That's
Right.
stupid. They should call it the super fast mobile machine, So, yeah,
And I mean, even at the Plaid event, there was no mention of the movie in terms of showing the movie. We did it during the pre-show.
Right. Who is the actor in Spaceballs?
Bill
Who is-
Pullman?
Yeah. Have him come out dressed as the character, and have someone dressed as the other one.
Well, John Candy's dead, but
I
yeah.
know, but have someone to
Right.
play him, or
Right.
have the
Rick Moranis or exactly.
Just, something to
It
be
could have
like.
been fun. You could
just
have had an
draw the
evil fight. Right,
just
exactly.
connect the things.
Catch him, and
Right,
then he hops
or
into the car.
Dark
Right.
helmet or something, or
I know.
prepare a ship for ludicrous speed, and then it goes to plaid like that would've been
Exactly.
great.
Have some fun. Exactly.
I mean, they did have fun. It's just
But you know what? They had Silicon Valley fun.
Yeah, it was like, it's going to be really cool.
It's really cool fun.
We're going to have Elon, and he's going to go, and then
Right.
it's going to go, oh, it's
Right.
so cool. Lasers, smoke,
Right.
and fire. It's cool.
Right.
You think it is cool because I don't have taste. Like,
here's the sticking neck out part. They're like, well, this
Right,
has
what's
worked.
safe?
Elon hasn't fired us for all the other things, so let's just keep doing it that way.
Just gonna
Just
be-
keep doing it that way.
right.
Hire
We
the
won't
same
have-
caterer.
Yeah, it's going to
Don't change it.
hire the same DJ.
Exactly. It's so freaking boring. Those events are the same event.
They always have cool hors d'oeuvres. I'm not going to knock the hors d'oeuvres, but the same DJ plays the same songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, if you want to get more publicity, use some, write your own song.
Write your own song.
Well, no, like Tesla could have some musical artists
Yeah.
that they hire. I mean, they're already Tesla fans. All they have to do, put it under Creative Commons, and then we don't lose monetization when
Yep.
we live stream the event.
Yeah.
Which would help Tesla, because then everyone who live streams the event doesn't have to cut the volume.
Right.
We tried to cut the volume to lose
Didn't work, by the way.
Didn't work. We lost monetization. So great.
Yeah, the whole 2 hours of work we did,
Right.
we got not a penny
so
from that.
for every view that watched it, all of it went to some
super thank you to the super chats, by the
Oh
way,
my
because
gosh.
you guys actually helped cover the cost of doing
Yeah.
that event. I mean, we had people staying up. We had 2 people offsite staying up till 1 in the morning to help us with the chats. We had to edit that whole. Thank you so much
Yeah.
because you guys make this stuff possible.
Right.
I'm going to go on to the next story. It's
Yep.
a Pew Research study. So the new Pew Research Center survey was conducted in April, and they found that the majority of U.S. adults currently support the expansion of solar farms, so 84% to 16%, and wind farms, 77% to 23%. Now, I want to stop right there. If you ever come across numbers like that, that means you've won. But yet,
84%.
Yeah.
Can you imagine anything else that you could get 84% of Americans to agree on?
right, so pretend you're in a gym right now, and there's 100 people. 84 on one side are like, yay, solar. 16 on the other, like, no, don't do it. You won.
Right.
And yet, why? Why are we still not, why isn't every politician saying, you know what I'm going to put in my platform? Solar and wind, because that's a winner.
Right. Let's just talk about it. 93% of left-leaning people or Democrats support solar. 93%. 93%. Right-leaning people, Republicans, 73% of.
So
We all agree here.
Right.
There's no sides of this issue.
And-
Everyone agrees. It doesn't matter if you're, Republicans are so against. No, shut up. No, they are
and
not.
so that's solar. Let's look at wind. 91% of left-leaning or Democrat people support wind. 62% of right-leaning or Republicans. And now,
a majority of Republicans support wind.
Now-
that's the end of the story.
but Republicans are more than twice as likely as Democrats, so 65 to 30%, to say that wind power is less reliable than other energy sources. And this is the problem. There are facts here, right? This isn't a story about religion or a story about, anything like that. This is facts. We have the data now. Price, reliability, all of that, there's no more opinion anymore. But because the politicians, media, and big oil have been able to frame the conversation, they've been able to skew opinions with lies. And so this is why you are so important. You need to tell people that you know to go solar and EV. And you might be like, well, wait, Zach, what does that have to do with this? Because that brings people into the world of what's really going on. Once you get in an EV and you start learning about how electricity works and how the grids work, and once you go solar, then you are now able to talk to other people about how, no, that stuff you told me about wind not being reliable, that's wrong.
Right. I want to. And here's the thing: it brings everyone together because most people agree on solar and wind. And yes, maybe the Republicans think that it's not as reliable. It doesn't matter what they think because facts don't care about your feelings. So that's fine if as long as the majority of anybody, and it's the majority of everybody, wants solar and wind. Then we're all in agreement here, and that's the cool part, right?
This is one of these cases where in the future we're going to look back and people are going to go, Mommy, why did Republicans used to not think that solar and wind was good? And they're going to be like, I don't know, because now they're the party of solar and wind. Right. And you're going to be like, you're probably saying right now, what, the Republicans, the party of solar and wind? Yes, it makes sense if you look at their platform. Energy independence. Well, that's how you get energy independence. You don't get it by having a war in Saudi Arabia.
And Democrats aren't going to fight you on that one.
No.
I mean, that's
They'll be
the
like,
crazy
sure, you
part.
want to be the
in this world of
Right.
like, oh, everyone's so polarized and we don't like to talk. Just we can all move towards this goal, and you know what? It's going to kind of clean up a lot of the problems in the world, in like the whole world, and we're going to have less to disagree on because a lot of problems are going to be solved. And any of the problems that crop up are going to be about solar and wind and batteries, and we're going to work on them all together. And there's not going to be this like,
Exactly.
I completely disagree with something, and I disagree with that. That's going to all go away.
I've often thought that one of the biggest problems with solar companies, you drive down the street, right? You see their vans. What do they all say? What are they all called? Solar this, solar run solar, sun fun, fun blun, whatever. All has sun in it. Put the word freedom in the name.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? Call yourself Freedom Power,
Freedom energy.
and you will have people signing up even more because, like, wait, freedom?
But it is freedom.
That's what it
literally
is.
the other day we were free. We had our freedoms, and they weren't taken away from us by a truck that hit a pole. I mean,
Exactly.
like that's it's like, and we can all agree on it. That's the crazy part. That's what I'm so happy about. That's why when we kind of struck upon this and we were driving around the country in Tesla, and we would stop at superchargers and we would talk to people on both sides of the aisle who disagreed about lots of other stuff, but totally agreed on Tesla. That was like a huge wake-up call for me because, you know, left-leaning, right-leaning, we're kind of independent. You've raised me very independently.
Sorry.
Yeah, so like, you know.
I should have indoctrinated you.
You were very like, you know.
Think for yourself,
Think
son.
for yourself. Yeah, don't vote for those. Yeah, so yeah, you.
But you know what the problem with solar is? There's one problem. One very big problem.
Okay.
If you are a Lin-Manuel Miranda fan, if solar had been a thing back when Lin was in the Heights, he never would have written In the Heights. I just saw it the other night. I've seen the play, and now I saw the movie. The movie's fantastic. In the Heights is all about how they lost power for 3 days. It was a historical fact, right? They lost power for 3 days in the Heights, and that affected a lot of things. A lot of businesses shut down and so forth. I was thinking as I watched the movie, do a number where it's like, if we had solar on the roof, right? If you had solar,
Yeah.
they wouldn't lose power.
Right.
And it's a huge problem. The city of New York lost power for 3 days. Mm-hmm. There's been times when New York has lost power for 6 days.
I know.
Like, but if you had solar on the roof, wouldn't happen.
And batteries. You need to have the batteries. But
Right.
again, like the amount of, and this is where it's tough because if you don't live in New York, even if you do live in New York, you don't understand the amount of money that goes into the infrastructure to keep that city running.
Right.
You don't understand all the steam tunnels and pipes, and you know why in certain places, you know, there's just seemingly steam escaping from the ground, or that like they have to bring liquid nitrogen to run under a particular spot to
What?
dry out the cables so that way they don't
Here's
short.
a couple things to do
You
with
know, like-
education. If you put me in charge of education, there would be an infrastructure class.
Yeah.
And you could do it in multiple grades. You could do it when you're young, like, hey, kids, this is a pipe.
It's a road, yeah.
And then when they're older, you could be like, let's talk about the physics of the
know.
pipe. And then there would be a physics class. Mm-hmm. I know that you're going to say, well, there's physics classes in high school. Yes, some schools have them. But for the most part, not every kid takes physics. You're required, I think, to take biology. I think you're required to take some chemistry. But physics is like, well, if you get around to it, maybe take some. As we are seeing in the tweets of the week this week, physics, super important.
Yeah.
It has to do with all of those sciences.
And
And
here-
yet it's like, well,
And here's the thing. I don't know if everyone's watched this. It's called The History of the Entire World, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's by Bill Wirtz. He just like kind of put it together. It's really interesting how basically society forms once there's like a concentration of food. And the thing about concentration of food is you grow it and you have to own the land. And if you own the land, then you have the access to the food, which means you're more powerful. And so throughout history, there's been a concentration of power at the top, who was in control of whatever the most important thing is. Usually was food or military to go kill people. So there's always been this concentration of power, and there's been a concentration of power recently with oil, and because they can own the land and suck it all dry and then sell it to you, and they get a bunch of money, which makes them even more powerful. If we flip the model on its head, where everyone can make their own power, everyone could possibly even get like all their water for free from the sky. All of these sort of ideas where it's like usually, oh, I have to go somewhere and someone is in control of it. As soon as you kind of flip that on its head, kind of a lot of problems go away.
why do you think there's so much FUD? Why do you think there's this anonymous video? Why do you think big oil is so afraid?
Right.
They don't want you to have it for free.
Right.
You
And-
just answered the question. That's it. They want the concentration of power, and those are the people who are like, keep the power.
Right. And so this is where, to me,
But it's staring us all right in the face.
and everyone agrees on it.
yes, and that's what I'm saying. So what are they doing every day? They're like, okay, how can we make sure that the thing that everyone's going to agree on, they don't agree on?
We have to say that it's unreliable.
Yes,
We have
unreliable. Yes, good.
Even
Good.
though
What
the
else? What else?
battery in South Australia makes the grid more reliable. No.
Yes,
we have to somehow make everyone think that wind
how
is
about,
less reliable.
How about if it's cold out,
Right.
things will break.
right? It just
Yeah, and that's what they're doing to us.
that's the thing.
And
but we all agree with each other. Instead, there is this charade. There is this. How can because to distract. If you're a magician and there's all sorts of things that you do, well, I'm doing something down here, but actually, and in your ear,
Right.
wow, hey, it's a coin.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm preparing my next trick where I'm going to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Yep.
All of that. There's all of this stuff where we're being distracted.
Yes.
And I don't want everyone to be distracted. We need to keep our eye on the ball
Yes.
here. We
And
need
that-
to understand what is the most important thing in the
And-
world.
and-
And that thing, honestly, is climate change. And I know that that's like a really big bummer downer thing to talk about. But the cool part is when you solve climate change, you solve a ton of other freaking problems.
Exactly.
So
And-
that's the fun part.
And
from-
you have so much power in this equation. You
Yes.
just don't know it. They've been telling you for years that you are powerless and you have no power. You're not rich.
Why don't you go call somebody?
Yeah.
Why don't you? I mean, and I feel bad. I usually tell people, oh, you should call your representatives. I'm telling you how the way the system should work. It doesn't always work that way. It rarely does work that way.
Right. That's why we did a whole video on why you should run, why you should be the person
Right.
who's running. You'll have much more power that way.
Because honestly, the system is still intact. It's being controlled for sure by lobbyists and big oil companies, but we've found this Pew Research study has shown that all people agree on this one thing. Now, the hard part is that they are also distracted by other things. And so they're going to want to disagree about other things. I just think that a climate forward, it can be positive on jobs. It can be positive on energy independence. It can be positive on freedom. It can be all of these things.
Look at Greta Thunberg. Little girl. Just talked about one issue.
right?
And all the children of the earth followed her. Why do you think the children followed her? Because they haven't been brainwashed yet.
Yep.
They're all like, oh, that makes sense. I haven't been brainwashed yet. And what she's saying makes sense. Why did all the adults not follow her? Because they're like, I think she's wrong for some reason, but I haven't thought it through.
Well, it's because she doesn't know anything because she's a child.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I know that there are a lot of young people watching. I know there's a lot of older people watching. And I just think, we're not all going to be around here forever. And let's just try and focus on...
It feels good, by the way. If you do what Jesse's saying, if you go out there and just make these arguments to people, get an EV, get solar, whatever, you feel good.
Right. And it's not virtue signaling. It's not
No.
like this, like, oh, you're just trying to, you're trying to do away with your guilt. It's not guilt. It's like,
It's just the right
we
thing
can
to do.
actually move in a positive direction in this world. And that's the kind of the thing that is always so annoying to me is that, everyone's going to try and get you off track talking about something else. But if you keep your eye on the ball and if you understand that everyone is in agreement about this thing, 5 years, 10 years ago, not everyone was in agreement because the technology wasn't there. And honestly, Elon hadn't proven it.
Exactly. That's why I'm so thankful to Elon, because he is actually, instead of us now talking about like, yeah, you're going to like the Leaf. You're
going to like having 120 miles of range.
Now what we're saying to you is so obvious.
We're saying, oh, do you want the best car in the world?
Right.
Because now that best car in the world is electric. It's not a Porsche anymore.
No.
And the second best car in the world, maybe it is a Porsche, but it's going to be electric.
Right.
So
we're going to wrap up the Patreon bonus stories, but we do have a whole bunch of Investor Club bonus stories that we're about to do that have to do more with the money side of things. We hope that you'll join us for that. If you're not part of the Investor Club yet, please consider going there and joining us. Now, you might be saying, whoa, $10 a month.
the idea, right?
Yeah. Spend the $10 a month. Try it for a month, okay? First of all, not just are you getting the Investor Club bonus videos that we're doing, not only are you going to get the monthly live streams that we do with CEOs. I mean, next week we're going to have a CEO of a startup that I just met. Amazing company you should hear from. These are possible investments you can make. But then forget all that, okay? Put that aside. Don't even watch those. Join the Investor Club Slack.
Mm-hmm.
That is unbelievable. It's
Yep.
over 1,600 people. Some of them are just there to have questions answered. Some of them are there putting up awesome links every day, thoughts every day. I learn so much there every day. I've made so much money from being on the Slack. So I feel a little guilty here because I established it and you're paying us,
Right.
and I'm making money off it.
Right.
If I can make money off it, you can make money off it.
And honestly, the benefit of it is that, Zach and I, you might think that Zach and I are the smartest, greatest guys in the world.
We're not.
We're not. And also, we don't have that much bandwidth. Like, we have to put out this show. It takes a lot of time and effort to make this show every single week. Not just Patreon bonus stories, but also in-depth and Tesla Time news and, preparing for whatever else things we're working on and other things that we're working on, which you'd know if you were on the Investor Club. All of that takes a lot of time, and we can't be up on every single company. But luckily, we can get very close by listening to people who are on the Investor Club.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stories we're about to do with some companies that I didn't hear about until I found out about them on the Slack. So I'm just saying, I think it's in your best interest. Try it for a month.
Right.
If you're not happy, drop your thing back down to $1.
Right. And again, investment is a way that you can vote with your money.
Yeah.
We saw the Exxon shareholders revolt. That was
Exactly.
voting with money. Like, literally. Also, you can just screw Exxon, take your money out of Exxon, put it into a different company, a company that's going to make you money and is going to create value in the world, hopefully, in a positive way. And that's a lot of what we talk about over on the Investor Club. You're not going to get a lot of these, I don't want to insult any crypto guys, but it's not just a lot of like,
Yo, crypto's the only way to do it. You better
No.
put all your money in Bitcoin and hodl.
I've been investing since 1983. Okay. I've been in the markets. So I'm not new at this. And I've been making money since 1983. That's not bad.
No.
Through up markets, down markets, I'm way ahead, and I'm getting better at it. And I'm getting better out of it, largely because I understand now how disruptive investing works, but also because of you guys. I now have a community of people who are constantly feeding me information that I couldn't possibly, like you said, I could have like a room full of analysts that would cost me $1 million a year.
Right.
You guys are that room.
Right. We've joined other investment, things. People who don't understand Tesla don't understand the world
Right.
and what's going to happen in it. So they're just like, well, maybe I'll stick with Exxon and get the dividend. It's like, dude, no, that's not where any growth is going to be, and that's not a good plan at all.
Right. Or people are posting things that like, here's some stock tips, and this thing could go big.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, why?
Right. I heard from CNBC the other day. Yeah, I mean, we're not...
And we're getting to the point now where we can have these companies come talk to you. We're trying right now, this might be a fact by the time we're done, I think Aptera is going to be talking to us on Tuesday, to you. So... like, they just are doing a crowdfund. We're able to now not only give you that opportunity, but have you be able to ask questions of the CEOs, like, should I get in on this crowdfund? We're going to be bringing you those answers.
Right.
Who else is doing that in this space with EVs? Like, what? There's a lot of other YouTubers out there who are talking about this stuff. We're actually in there trying to get you to the people that you need to hear from. And the more of you that join, the more clout we get. So, like, when we tell people now, hey, do you want to come talk to our investor club? And they're like, what, like 12 people? And we're like, no, 1,600 people. And they're like, oh,
yes,
yeah, I'll clear my schedule.
Yeah, and I'll answer whatever questions, and I'll kind of do the winky, like, oh, don't worry, we can get you in kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. And, yeah, we couldn't have done it without you. And I just, wow. That was a great Patreon bonus story. I want to thank you because if it weren't for you, I would just be having these conversations in my car. I'd be driving around just like
Talking to
If
yourself.
only we would all listen to each other and we'd be all on the same team. We're all on the same team, and I'm in my car and no one's going to be hearing me.
Right.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for hopefully taking these ideas, putting them together, and doing something with them. I've been so enheartened. Is that the right word?
It's a good word. Sounds
I've
good.
been so I'm so happy to hear that like some of the ideas that we have been putting forward in the world have actually become fruitful and are turning into things. So if you're doing anything, let us know. If you're running for offices, let us know. We'd love to help you. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah,
And-
this is a community, and that's how it works. We
And
gotta
you can reach out to us either through Patreon, because you're patrons, or you can also reach out to us at hello@nowyouknowchannel.com, and you can just write the code word dragon in the subject line, and we'll hopefully get back to you. We're still kind of setting everything up, but yeah, we're not using any other social medias aside from Facebook. I still kind of just check for Community Mail Times because it's a great place to share pictures. But we're trying to just streamline it to one source just because it's hard to keep everything straight. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Now you know.